This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hey everybody, once again, thank you so much for tuning into Groomer Humor on Pet Life Radio. We are your hosts. I'm Rudy V.
And I'm Anthony Ray.
Okay guys, today's topic, we're going to be talking about the dreaded flea season that's upon us once again. Anybody that owns a pet, a dog, a cat, a squirrel, a rabbit, anything like that is going to attract fleas. So fleas, as we know, can be a big problem, and we're going to try to address some of those problems today by giving you some tips on how to control the situation in case you have fleas or your pet does have fleas. It could be 1 flea, 2 fleas, or 1,000 fleas. So we're going to make some suggestions, talk about some techniques that we use as dog groomers to, better help you guys out there. We're going to be recommending some organic flea shampoos, some flea dips, some flea sprays, just get you better prepared. So, Ant, in your opinion, do you think that this is a bad flea season or what?
Yeah, this has actually been the worst one couple years, at least from what I'm seeing. I don't know if it's because the weather stayed a little bit warmer through October or not, but I'm seeing a lot more. Usually around this time, we always see a couple infestations, but this year it's been multiplied by a lot, especially for the squirrel owners.
Exactly.
That you just mentioned.
That's right.
That was part of the list of.
Squirrels need love too, man. Squirrels need love too. Okay?
Yeah, certainly when you hear fleas, the first thing you think of is squirrels. So all you squirrel listeners, definitely pay attention.
Right. That's why I said it. I wanted to address it, and lovebirds too.
Yeah, squirrels and lovebirds, the most common pets to get fleas.
Right, exactly, But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk more about this. We're going to go to break briefly, and we're going to come back and we're going to address the issue. So yeah, we'll be right back after this break.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your 4-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Groomer Humor on Pet Life Radio. Before the break, Anthony and I were talking about the dreaded flea season. So yeah, Anthony, I was noticing in the break, man, you look like you were doing a little scratching back there. Could it be the wool hat, or what's under that scalp of yours?
I don't know. Here we go with the hat again.
I'm just saying, you were scratching.
Well, I mean,
I saw you.
At least I have the potential to worry about getting fleas. They don't really have anywhere to burrow on your head. You're really working with a mean part there. That's from sea to shining sea.
Are you talking about my comb over?
Yeah, your old comb over. At least I get to rock a wool hat. You're rocking a skin cap.
I got like an East Coast, West Coast comb over going.
Yeah, right, exactly. East Coast, yeah, you got an East Coast, West Coast struggle.
My scalp is like Moses parting the Red Sea.
Right, exactly. So how about stop mentioning my wool hat?
Yeah, I was just curious.
But you don't have the thing.
You have a conductor's cap on today. What do you got, a train? Choo choo.
This is a conductor's cap. I really got to stop wearing hats. Watch, that's going to make it into every episode.
I'm sporting am I getting like that Donald Trump comb over going or what?
Yeah. A little. I mean, I think his is a little bit better. It's a little more full, but I think his product is a little better. I'd like to see. It's funny, Donald Trump. It's like I'd like to see Donald Trump make some decisions on fleas.
Right.
You know
A
what I mean?
flea ban or something.
Right. Can you imagine? We're gonna put up a wall, folks. Okay. We're gonna put up a wall around our dogs, around our pets. Okay. We're gonna make pet ownership great again, folks. Okay. We got to keep these fleas out.
That's awesome, man.
You could just hear him saying it.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You could post it on his Twitter.
Right. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. That's all right. So, all right. So let's address some flea issues. Like everybody tends to think that there's a flea season, and we both know as groomers that really depends on where you live. Because if you're living, someplace like Florida, the warmer states, the flea season's basically all year round. So you're going to have this battle, this continuous battle. Where if you live up north where we are, Jersey, and where you get winters, it tends to die down in the colder months. But with that being said, like you were saying earlier, we're getting this warm front. So fleas are just sticking around like crazy, and if you don't take care of the problem, they'll live in your house. They'll go right through winter and well into spring. It's really bad. I don't understand the purpose of fleas unless your name is Flea and you play for a rock band called the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't understand your purpose in life, but obviously there is a purpose for them, but not on our dogs and cats, right? Not on our pets.
Yeah, that is the only flea I've ever seen with a purpose, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they have a purpose, but I don't know what it is. Maybe I should look that up.
Yeah. I'm curious. What is there? And have you ever seen one under a microscope? They're horrible looking. They look like aliens.
They look mean.
They look mean. They look aggressive. They're biting the dog. So I don't like to kill anything, to be honest with you, but we got to kill fleas. Unfortunately, it's just the problem. We got to kill fleas, get them off our pets.
I just pulled it up right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fleas serve no purpose. That's what I'm getting right here.
Right.
They don't pollinate any flowers, nor do they prey on any destructive or harmful insects. Instead, they siphon the blood of unsuspecting animals and people, all the while passing harmful organisms into their bloodstream. Okay.
Oh, okay. Let's kill these guys.
Yeah.
All right.
I was
being polite. Let's murder these fleas.
Yeah.
Okay?
I guess. Yeah. Maybe we should put up a wall. That's we got to get them out. Then okay.
Well,
I never knew that.
Right. Well, we are going to put up a wall. That's part of what we're going to talk about. When we get a dog in our grooming shop, and this is coming from a grooming shop perspective, so this might be a little tip for you groomers out there. What you want to do is you don't want to start spraying the dog down as soon as he comes into your shop, because believe it or not, that's going to cause the fleas to just become hyperactive and jump off of the dog, and now they're in your shop. So when you take a dog in that has fleas, and during this season when we put a dog up on the table, we check them right away for fleas. It's like the very first thing we do. And the best place to check them is like the base of the tail, the underside, behind the ears, the armpits, the hidden areas.
Yeah,
but
they're smart.
Yeah, they're smart. They'll hide. But what you want to do is you want to get that dog into the tub or cat into the tub and defleed as soon as possible, because once you hit them with the water and the flea shampoo, they're going to start dying right away. But again, you don't want to spray the dog down prior to doing that. You want to kind of just take that dog and get it right in the tub and defleed immediately, so they're not bouncing around your grooming shop and then potentially getting onto other people's pets. So that's from a grooming shop perspective. But from the house, as a pet owner, the problem may be even bigger than just on your dog, because you may have sprayed, or you have carpeting, or there's a culprit somewhere. They're picking them up somewhere, and they could be picking them up from your backyard, bringing the problem into the house. Now, if you have a cat in your house, now they're getting on the cat, and it could become a huge dilemma where there's a big difference between like a couple of fleas, which is very common, and a flea infestation. What was the statistic, Ant?
A female flea can lay up to 50 eggs on your dog. So that's 50 eggs, and then from there, it could be another 50. There's no telling.
There could be hundreds of, hatching females. And we've seen that. We've seen it where, you put a dog in the tub and the fleas are just popping off. I mean, they're jumping on you. They can get on you. They can bite people. they won't survive on us, but they will bite us. And they need a source. They need the dog to survive. So with that being said, if there is an infestation, what can also happen is, aside from the fleas, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be an infestation. Rather, aside from the fleas, though, dogs can start to develop what's called a flea bite dermatitis, which is when the dog becomes allergic to the flea bite itself.
Yeah.
So like I said, it doesn't have to be an infestation. It can be one or two fleas causing this big allergic reaction and this dermatitis where the dog's going to start getting raised bumps and skin irritation, loss of hair. He's going to be biting at himself, scratching at himself. His hair is going to be falling out, and it's very, very uncomfortable for the dog. So we need to address this. There's a number of different ways to address this problem. Do you want to talk a little bit, Ann, about
Yeah,
that?
well, one of the first things about the dermatitis, the flea bite dermatitis, is that it's a scary term that I found that not a lot of people know what it even looks like, or if that's, because dermatitis sometimes could even just look like your dog's just kind of biting at itself. Sometimes it's kind of just like, because we had an old shepherd, Lucky.
Yeah.
She had it, and it doesn't always seem like there's a major problem. Sometimes it just looks like, oh, she has allergies or whatever, and she's just sort of biting at herself, and the hair starts to come off, and they start to become bald, or just a lot less hair in the spot. So it's that good timing, actually, because we just did our flea bite dermatitis video for our YouTube channel that's going to be coming out soon. So I think the first thing to do is to be able to recognize it and see what it is, because if the more people who know what flea bite dermatitis actually looks like, they'll be able to recognize it right away, and then hopefully you could even catch it in time before their pets start biting at themselves to the point where the hair's never going to come back and they're just always going to look irritated, even if they're not, because it's unsettling. It's not, a dog that has fleas without flea bite dermatitis, you always feel bad for it. It's unsettling to begin with, just to picture these insects living on them, feeding off of their blood, biting them, making them itchy. So a dog that has flea bite dermatitis is like, now you could actually see the irritation, the bumps, the allergy setting in, and it could be very easily mistaken for any other kind of allergy, a regular allergy, just a skin allergy or something like that sometimes just gets overlooked, and a dog owner, through no fault of their own, will just, sure, it happens, when the weather gets cold or when the weather gets warm, and actually, if you just, with a little inspection, you might notice that there's some fleas walking around your dog, and if your dog has those bumps, that irritation, then it's almost 9 times out of 10 actually flea bite dermatitis, and you get rid of the fleas, you get rid of the dermatitis in most cases.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It's a good point, because that's the importance of checking the dog, like you said, because if you do see the fleas, then you know that that's 9 out of 10 times the problem. And you brought up Lucky, and remember, hers got so bad where she used to gyrate, remember?
Yeah. Yeah, she looked like she was breakdancing.
Exactly. I was just going to say, she looked like she was breakdancing. She would spin. Remember, we used to count her spins?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Man, what was the record?
I think she got up to like 11, 12, spinning around slowly, rubbing her butt.
Yeah. Yep. I remember the poor thing. Yeah. And honestly, you were kind of new to grooming at the time, or close to it. You had just started. So there wasn't as much information out there at the time. We didn't even know what flea dermatitis really was at the time. So,
or products. There weren't
nearly as many products.
Right. So, let's talk a little bit about the products. Like now, everybody's kind of going into a more natural, holistic route. We're kind of swaying away from chemical products that are very effective. The problem that they were originally facing was, with all these organic products, was that they weren't as effective. They weren't killing the flea as quickly, but we've come a long way from that. Now there's a lot of organic flea shampoos, flea and tick shampoos. There's so many that are super, super effective, if not more than some of the chemical-based ones. I know Earth Bath.
I love Earth Bath.
I love Earth Bath, too. They put out a great product. Yeah. Very effective, because you want that flea to die quickly, too. You don't want it to survive long enough to be able to jump off the dog.
Yeah. They'll find a way to get out of the, they're wily.
Yeah. Another one is, aside from the flea shampoo, if the dog does have the flea bite dermatitis, you want to kind of soothe that down. Of course, defleeing first, getting rid of all the fleas, and then, using a good oatmeal shampoo, or there's another like a tar and aloe shampoo, melaleuca shampoos, tea tree oil shampoos. There's all these great shampoos that will help soothe the skin at the same time killing the fleas. And you may have to repeat this process. You might do it one week and you'll have a reoccurring problem, and do it again the next week. And the beauty of using these organic products is that you can use them as often as necessary, unlike the chemical-based ones where, it's recommended that you don't use them too often.
Yeah, the chemical, like you said, it's not that they don't work. I just don't know that I would, because chemicals tend to go into the dog's bloodstream. That's, right. And yes, very effective, obviously. If the fleas are feeding off of the blood and the chemicals in there, it's going to kill them, and maybe it'll even work, without you having to bathe your dog so often. But I just don't know that I would really want to pour that all over my pet at such a high rate, especially if my dog had an infestation. I just don't know. The research is just chemicals going into a dog's blood, just what can be the long-term effects on that. Not to down talk it, I guess, because it is effective, but as far as long-term safety and ridding the fleas of your dog, off of your dog, organic and just natural shampoos and sprays and stuff have really become sort of the norm. It's all very herbal. There was another, I think it was Dr. Harvey, Herbal Protection is another good one. And also what you said too about the soothing. The soothing is just so important, whether your pet has dermatitis or not. Just to soothe the skin is always a good thing, really.
Right. I mean, we use those oatmeal shampoos even on a regular basis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One of the things that we do at the shop, though, is because we're able to use these organic shampoos during the flea season. I mean, we're up north, so it's peaking right now in the fall. We sometimes take it upon ourselves and just do the flea shampoo just in case, because it's safe anyway. And they clean the dog really well, too, But for people at home, I think we need to be prepared. Just assume that, your dog may get fleas. So be prepared with a good flea shampoo, good flea spray. Again, there's organic flea sprays as well. Adams puts out a good organic flea spray. Did I say spray?
Yeah, I think you said spray. Yeah, Adams puts on a good flea spray over there at the pet store.
I like Adams. They're the best ones. Bring in the Adams shampoo is the best one out there. Sorry.
What are you doing, Godfather?
I'm doing Godfather. Come on, man. You got to do Trump. I'm doing Godfather.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna do one of these days. We're gonna do a full on. We're just gonna do impressions the whole time, and nobody's gonna know which of us is talking the whole time.
Bring in a meeting of the heads of all the 5 families, and the one that approaches you is the flea.
Oh man, that's great. That is so funny. Oh yeah, they're I don't know. We're out of our minds, but I like that. We're able to talk about. Fleas are a serious thing, but you have to be lighthearted about these things because there's so many serious things about your pets. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm a very nervous pet owner. I'm not so much that I run to the vet for everything, but I'm always scared when for my pets, and it's good to, with everything you can, if you could think about something in a lighthearted way and just know that 9 times out of 10, if it's caught early, and that's the point I was trying to make before about inspect your dog a little bit, is that 9 times out of 10 basic things, if they're caught early, can be treated. And that really goes for a lot of other things outside of, fleas, and, it goes for dental hygiene. We did a video about that. It goes for everything, really. Just the more you stare at your dog, outside of just petting them and having fun with them, take a look you got to take a look and see what's going on. Just, be as updated. And I think, we'll probably should go to break here and we'll get into that a little bit more after that.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
She was thrown out of a pickup truck.
Somebody threw him out of a car and shattered his leg.
They found her walking on the streets.
Many have been abused, malnourished, eating garbage.
Scabs, itching, licking, missing fur.
There's this commercial on TV that the ASPCA does. They want you to send in $19 a month for a dog in the shelter. I think you should go and adopt a dog from the ASPCA and then get that dog on Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
You don't need to spend thousands on vet bills.
The answer is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
When you rescue a dog, you've got to feed him right for life. Every rescue deserves at least 90 days of Dinovite.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Oh, sure. It's all fun and games until someone ends up in a cone. That's right. We're animals. Deal with it. Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Okay, so we're back here on Groomer Humor, and when we left, I had mentioned that it's important to inspect your dogs, keep an eye on them, and really just keep an eye out for anything that might be off, because 9 times out of 10, you can solve it just by discovering it early. And that brings up another good point, speaking of inspecting. As a person who bathes dogs professionally, giving flea baths, it's especially important to inspect before and after the bath to make sure you know what you're dealing with as far as an infestation, or is it just a couple? And then afterward, of course, make sure you know if you got them all or if you got the majority of them. Check the dog's skin, see how the dog is feeling. Keep an eye on him after a couple hours, even after that, of course, and make sure he's not still scratching and all that. Just see how he's feeling. And I wanted to share a technique, actually, that, or not so much a technique as a tip, that it's very important when you're if you're going to give your dog a flea bath at home, and for your groomers out there, just to make sure you're doing this too, when you're giving your dog or cat a flea bath, it's really important to start by the front of your pet's body, not the rear. Dab a little bit of flea shampoo on the muzzle, by the ears, because fleas, if you start in the rear, the fleas will run away from it and run toward the front, and now they could run into the ears or into the mouth or into the nose to hide and get away from the shampoo. So that's sometimes overlooked, that it's really important to start at your pet's head and to make sure you keep them out of the ears and the nose and the eyes and all that, because you want them to run toward the rear, because it's much easier to sort of trap them when you get back there. You'd agree with that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good point. You definitely want to start at the head, forcing all the fleas towards the body, and definitely get a good lather going. And you want to, once you dab that shampoo, you want to start to work it in there and lather up the head and body. Then once you're all lathered up, you want to let that flea shampoo sit on for a good 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Giving it an opportunity to kill the fleas before you rinse it. You definitely want to leave it.
Yeah, that's another thing that, sorry to interrupt you, another thing that's so often overlooked, is giving a flea bath is a lot different than giving just a regular bath. There's a regular bath, you just sort of lather the dog down and you do the same thing, you get all the spots, you want to clean the whole dog thoroughly, but then when you're done lathering, you pretty much just rinse the dog right down. A flea bath is the complete opposite. You have to start at a very specific place, end at a very specific place, and then you have to let it sit, like you just said. A lot of times that gets overlooked. People will lather up the dog in the flea shampoo and then just rinse it right away and not give the shampoo a chance to do its thing.
Right. It's like in your case, you can't take like a 2-second shower like you do.
Right.
You got to spend a little bit more time.
Right. I try to. Sometimes I try to kick it up to a 4-second.
Yeah.
But it depends.
You're conserving water though, right?
Well, that's important. I think that's also overlooked. We have to be diligent sometimes, and I have a lot more hair than you.
Exactly.
I don't know. That wasn't really relevant, but it's never a bad time to make fun of your dad.
Yeah. So yeah, never a bad time. So yeah. So on top of flea shampoo, as we spoke about earlier, you want to try to follow up with a good soothing shampoo, like an oatmeal shampoo, an aloe shampoo, melaleuca shampoo. Follow any flea shampoo up with that, just to soothe the skin. And again, like we said, you might have to repeat the process. But I think another part of it is, I would just assume every year, just to be prepared for this, have a good flea spray, have a good flea shampoo. Timing is everything. And like you said, inspect your dog. If you see a flea or two, spray it, with the flea spray. Because spray it direct, kill it right away. Even not being prepared, not having a flea spray could mean, an extra day, and that hatching female that we talked about, hatched within that time of you not having, a shampoo or a spray.
Yeah. That just having a free spray. Oh my God. A flea spray.
Just tongue twister.
A flea spray. It is. Yeah. You got to get the flea spray. Just by not, you should have a flea spray handy all the time, because your dog might not always need a full-on flea bath. That's happened before. I've actually gotten on a dog that actually had quite a lot of fleas. I was actually able once to get all of them, every single one of them, and I swear there were no fleas left on it afterward. I was able to get one just by dabbing a little bit on my finger and finding there was only maybe 5 of them, and they had survived the flea bath. And I noticed afterward that there were still a little bit, and I had a good organic flea spray, and I was able to finish them off with that. And like you were just saying, you just sort of, you spray a little bit on. You don't want to, douse the dog in it or anything like that. But a good organic flea spray, you spray it on your finger, and you sort of trap them under it, and you're able to get them. So it's just a great tool to have, because you don't want to dry your dog's skin out by bathing them every 30 seconds because they have a couple fleas on them. So sometimes it's great to just have a spray because
direct.
Yeah, you just kind of get it directly, and it's gone. It
and
works.
Another suggestion that I want to make too is if you live in an area that's heavily wooded, or if you've had really bad flea problems in the past, if you have a good flea spray prior to walking your dog or letting him out in the yard, give him a good mist. Don't get it in his eyes or anything like that. Just give him a good mist of the flea spray and right prior to walking them or letting them outside your backyard. And this will deter any fleas from jumping on. If they jump on, they'll tend to jump off right away. So it's just another little helpful tip there. If you
get yourself some flea spray.
You get yourself some flea spray.
Yeah, you get to get some flea spray, you'll be fine.
And just put a mist on the spray. That's all you got to do. But just definitely just little tips like this, because again, as we talked about earlier, this is a bad season. We're in for a really bad season. Mm-hmm. So you want to stay on top of it, avoid that dermatitis problem.
Yeah, that's you really can't talk about it enough, really, because how often do you really sit down with like your neighbor when you see them in the driveway and say, and you chat about fleas for the next hour? It doesn't get talked about enough, and it sounds strange to say that. Yeah, it's not a popular conversation starter. Hey, how's the fleas? You know what I mean? It's not, that's just not how conversations work. So that's why it's important, but you should talk about it, and it's good that anybody who's listening, just to they have some insight on it, because it's really not a topic that gets covered in detail. I got fleas, you give them a bath. That's usually where it begins and ends, but there's more to it.
Yeah, there's great yard sprays as well that you can, if you're living in a heavily wooded area or you're prone to getting fleas every year, there's great yard sprays that little hose attachments that you attach to your hose. You could do it yourself, or, you call a lawn maintenance person and they could do it for you. But yeah, I agree. It's not a topic. Your neighbor's going to be out there washing his car, and hey, what are you doing today, Tom? No, I'm going to deflea the area. It's not talking.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's not. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, so, it just doesn't really. If it gets my dog has fleas, it's just usually just written off, and it's such a common problem. It is a normal thing. You really, I can understand why a lot of people just sort of say it in passing, because it is. But a lot of times fleas can turn into something worse, like dermatitis, or just develop into just a lot of skin irritation that your dog can do without. And that's why I always stress the inspection thing, just as a pet owner, because I just think that, and I mentioned it before, that honestly, 9 times out of 10, obviously there's exceptions, but 9 times out of 10, something just common that's wrong with your dog, and a lot of common things could turn into bigger problems. Yeah. The more you pay attention to these things, the quicker you can catch them. And really, a lot of times it could be alleviated just by knowing that it's there and being able to recognize it. Being able to recognize that your dog's teeth are starting to get a little bit shaky is good, because then you could make some adjustments to their diets or get them to the vet to get a deep cleaning, or sometimes groomers do good cleanings too. Just little things to pick up on rather than just, I have a dog, he's so cute, let me rub his belly. And it's like, really, like you say, inspect, lift the hair back, take a look under the ears. It happens. And again, it's not by any fault of the owners at all. It becomes overlooked because, maybe your dog has an ear infection that you don't even know about. They have long ears. And I understand it's not something that I'm going to go home and after work, what do I got to do? I got to cook dinner. I'm going to inspect the dog's ears. It's like it doesn't always happen like that. But
and another point I want to make before we go, because we are running out of time, is if you are a groomer, you're in a shop environment, if you are seeing dogs coming in your shop with a lot of fleas, you, at the end of the day, at the end of your week, you want to flea bomb or spray your shop down really, really well, because again, you just don't want to transfer any of that problem to your next client or your next dog. So very, very important that you spray your shop down as well, if you have a dog grooming shop or a kennel, or you work with animals in any way. So Yep. So what do you think, Ed? I think we might be out of time here.
Yeah, we're probably out of time here, but Yeah, just we just wanted to get that out. I think it's important. The timing is good. It's a common and current that's going to be going on because the season is upon us.
We'll talk more about it in future, episodes too.
Yes. There's always a lot to cover with fleas, and definitely. And like I mentioned earlier, we just put out a video on flea dermatitis on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is called Grooming by Rudy. Don't forget to go and check that out. That's Grooming by Rudy on YouTube. That should be, I think by the time this comes out, that'll be our latest video that came out because we want people to know what that looks like. As we mentioned before, it's important to identify with it. We'd like to thank Mark Winter, as always. Thank you so much for helping us put this together, our producer.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. And until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves and your pets.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.